Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending yet, folks. It's your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, we're gonna have a nice little discussion today. As we know, we follow bodybuilding for a long time, and I've seen how the sport has evolved over the years. The comings and goings, especially of competitors, and really, it can be a very tough sport. As you know, last week we talked about dealing with medical issues and injuries. My man Big Keith, he had surgery some time ago. He's doing fine now. Just saw him doing a little bowling, and also the issues with Helen Trevino recently, and also a possibly retirement of maybe Micaiah Aycock. Often the question I often ask: what really motivates anybody to get in sport and want to stay in the sport? There's a lot of costs, little to no benefits to it. Other than the lucky top competitors who are Olympia qualified, you might get a maybe some endorsements here and there. You get paid real well by the big companies. But like I said, I often think what really not motivates, but what really drives anybody getting bodybuilding. I hear the story because they love the sport, they love the competition, they love how they build their bodies. It was a sport that was there when they were dealing with their own problems, their own demons, or how life has changed for them. So, usually my regular guests, but they come in later. So, it's just gonna be you and me for a few minutes. But I had this thing that was sent to me by my dear friend, Mr. Big Keith Williams. And this is the person that we talk about quite often on this channel. He is the 8-time Mr. Olympia champion. That is Ronnie Coleman. As you know, Ronnie is a legend in the sport. I mean, he's been in the game for a long time. He has, competed at top of the level during his career. And you've seen Ronnie the last few years. He's not the same man that he was when he won his titles back in the early 2000s. And he has changed a bit. He's dealing with some medical issues himself, but he stays motivated. He keeps his faith, and and you got to respect this man for who he is and what he has contributed to the sport. He's up there with guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger and also so many other legends, in bodybuilding. And like I said, I'm a fan. I remember watching Ronnie Day. I remember he was my girl I had a crush on, and that was the beautiful Miss Vicky Gates. They were in a relationship for a good while. Vicky was before. They were both cops back in Texas, even working for the same precinct, and had a good relationship for a good bit, but then they broke up. But Ronnie, like I said, he has been through some hard times, and he's still out there. He's still going. I mean, I got to respect the man for this. So I'll pull this a little video that really, I think a lot of people, they look at it, it can be tough to see someone like this, who he was and who he's become now. So give me a few minutes, folks. I'll bring up the video. You give me a sec. Yeah, kind of tough to see a man like that who was a top champion in sport, and he has to pretty much practically crawl to get up onto a stage or a podium. You know, it's kind of but he has to deal with some issues with his back issues years ago. Some say that he should have got surgery, but he didn't want to miss the opportunity to be Miss Olympia. And that's tough. But sometimes you wonder. As we were talking, we discussed this a while back. My man Kid Keith said that would he change his mind? And we said he would have done it again. He would have he put on more weights. That's what's or I think last week on Muscle Talk we had Bev on, and Bev and both Keith said that he would have still have done it no matter what. he accepts, the results of the decisions he made during his time as a competitor. And, and I respect that. But still, you hate to see somebody go through that, what he's going through. He has to walk around with a walker, and sometimes, it's difficult for him to move like he used to. He still lifts weights, he still works out, but still, lost his legs and his mobility. That's one thing that makes anybody who feels more human. One person we also mentioned on here before, my man Big Keith knows him very well. He was to work out with him and train with him a few years ago, and that's one Flex Wheeler. As you know, years ago, Flex was like a top Olympic competitor during his time, and then he had a setback too. It was like I think almost, at least I think 5 or 6 years ago, maybe, where Flex lost his left leg, and it was dealing with some kind of issue, and it's tough, just being who you were before and being this your great representation of bodybuilding, and then how your life has changed from what it was before. It's tough. And even though Flex is, he's not the same man he was before, he still moves on. He still maintains his strength, his belief, his faith, but also he has grown as a businessman. But then you have to think about, this could have been avoided if he made better life decisions or didn't do the things he did, or, what else you could say that could maybe get him to realize that maybe he made a mistake in his life. But he still is passionate about bodybuilding, even though he no longer competes. He still, helps train and coach other people. I'll pull this up in a minute. Y'all can check it out. Here he is, and still moving on and doing what he loves doing and doing bodybuilding. We got some people here. We have here my man, shout out to my man, Balls Deep. He says, he says, here you go. Wait a second. Yeah, my computer gets like keep saying get us a new computer. Yeah. Man, Balls Deep, he says, Chicago in here. Appreciate that, brother. Also, he says, smash the like button. Thank you, brother. Also, he says, Schmo gang, 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 gang. Thank you, brother. He also says, just say no to the juice. Well, not always juice sometimes, but some other things. Sometimes there's a medical issue that you never shared. We have a man, Emmanuel L, saying, hey, what's up? What's up, brother? Also, we have here Raheem Hamilton. Neil Raheem, uh, he says, I don't respect that. Well, you don't have to respect that, but that's how it is sometimes. It's not about, it's not about what you like. It's about what they want to do with their lives. He also mentioned this. He says, bodybuilding don't have medical insurance. It's foolish to take your body to that limit, to the point you can't walk anymore. And it's very foolish. I understand, but a lot of them do it because they want to do it. Also, he says this. He says, bodybuilding is not like the NBA, NFL, NBL, NHL, and even soccer, where there are medical insurance. Yeah, because you got to think about. We talked about this, that most companies, if they tell you, if you go apply for insurance with certain companies, they'll tell you, if you say, hey, I'm a bodybuilder, and the first thing they say is like, you take performance enhancers, you're a risk. It's like somebody like me. I'm lucky that I have Medicaid, Medicare. That helps me out. But if I try to get any kind of insurance and don't have a pacemaker, most companies don't want to give me insurance. And also that if I try life insurance is expensive. It's very expensive. Somebody with any kind of pre-existing conditions, it can be high. But I was lucky enough that I got an insurance company that's reasonable. I don't pay as much, and it helps out. Raheem, since you're here, I'm waiting for my usual suspects. If you want to jump on, brother, you see the link in the comment section. Join in. Give your thoughts and perspectives. I mean, that's why I have these open discussions. So anybody who wants to come in and want to share their thoughts, especially on bodybuilding, like Balls Deep, we tried to come in a couple of times. Emmanuel, anybody. I reach out to the competitors, but you know what? I can't make nobody do what I want them to do. They got to do them themselves. They got to be willing to talk about this. I understand that sometimes you don't want to be feet or anything like that, but that's one thing. Ah, here he is. Speaking of the devil, and here he comes. Yeah. Good evening, young man. Hello.
What's up, George? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going off for work. But I'm just going to tell you right now. Okay, saying it on on that, writing it up doesn't translate well. So what I'm saying is this: it's yeah, I'm going to say it was very foolish of him, of Ronnie, to do what he did. You don't have to be, like doing leg presses for with 800 pounds and doing all that. I mean, bro, we all know you strong. We know that you missed Olympia. The thing is this: when you are doing this sport, you know that it's not like any other sports where there's health benefits. And I ain't gonna say health, it's more health and benefits. You know, you say he's saying that if he could do it again, he would. I have to say that's wrong. If he can get a second chance at to do everything, to get a second chance, and plus he has children, bro, being when you're single with no kids, you're gonna do a lot of reckless things. But when kids come involved in your life and you become a father, your whole outlook is different. So he's saying that to us to make you feel good, but at the end of the day, behind the back of his head, he's knowing that same thing with Keith. My kids or my life, bro. If he had children earlier, prior to that, he would say, "Nah, I'm not gonna risk it." You know what I'm saying? Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He was Mr. Olympia 3 times. And he didn't put risk. He could have done the same thing, Roddy. He could have been lifting over 300, 800 pounds, stuff like that. But he knew there was a limit. You know what I'm saying? And he knew that there was risk. He's like, nah, I'm not going to go do all that. So what I'm saying is this: at the end of the day, if you're coming into the IFBB pros, male or female, and you know that there's no health benefits, there's no insurance. Basically, you're putting more money into the sport than you're getting out of it. Why risk your health? I'm not talking about the supplements. I'm talking about lifting all that crazy weight. Why do that? It's like, it's going. This is the end results of it. That's what I'm saying. It's this. It doesn't make sense, man. And I truly believe that had he had kids at the time he was going for his Miss Olympia titles, he wouldn't have done all that stuff. People would just hype him up. People was like, "Yeah, Ronnie, you can do it." And the same people that sell, and there was some people that said to Ronnie, "Yo, bro, I think it's really risky for you to do leg press over 800 pounds. Don't do it. Don't do it." And he listened to more of the dudes who were rooting for him. Now, those same people are feeling bad for him, and they say, "Oh, you the man. You the man. You're a legend. You're a legend because you're in your 50s. I mean, you're over 50 years old, and you could barely walk. You know what I'm saying? That's not a good look." That's all I'm saying. At the end of the day, when you come into this sport, which is a sport I love and I respect, you just don't go that hard. That's why you got bodybuilders who say, "I don't when I lift weights, I don't always lift heavy. It's not about how much the it's not about how much weight you with. It's about the sets and reps that build you up." So at the end of the day, I can't respect that, man, because at the end of the day, he risked his physical just for what? For what? He can barely walk. He's crawling. That's the saddest part. If he could do it over again, if God could give him a second chance, I guarantee you he would not do that. Especially now he has a wife and children. Come on, man. You can't tell me that, man. I call BS on that shit. Sorry, cursing.
Well, you say BS. That's not cursing. That's you're supposed to say bullshit. That's cursing. Number one thing is he did it because he wanted to do it, and then also he wanted to prove himself as a champion, like any champion. No different from any football player, basketball player. Go out there, take a risk, who gets hit, and you can't always use your children. Sometimes those guys don't think about their children as much as they should. Sometimes they think about because they look for the glory, like any competitor. It's about the glory for them as much as anything. And I'm gonna quick you on something. Arnold had 7 titles, not 3. And there's a question about that last title because some feel like Sergio Olivier should have won that one, but that's how it is sometimes. But if any person gets in the sport, understand like anything, you understand the risks, everything that's involved in it, and like Keith said, and like Bev said in last week, about he would still do it again. He just lift more heavy weight. One thing he mentioned that he did, which he should have had, got the surgery that he needed to do, but he didn't want to miss on being a champion. Especially his record. He wanted to defend his title, and like any champion, you want to go out and be your best. Even if you feel like you have Like one thing I used to do a lot of content on MMA and mixed martial arts, and those fighters are not 100%. They're not. They still have injuries. I've known a fighter, she has a broken orbital bone, her eyes broke, and she still had got surgery for it. Fighters dealing with knee injuries, shoulder injuries. Sometimes that stuff sneak up after a while, but still, they still go in that ring or that cage and fight because it's just who they are. Like Rocky says, I'm a fighter. That's what I am.
Okay, but you're okay. Let me just say this: you're using MMA and boxing to bodybuilding. Let me explain something about bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, the audience are not in the gym watching you work out. They're just you're on the stage posing. That's where the whole difference of is bodybuilding a sport or pageantry. You get what I'm saying? Because if you're in the octagon, you seen people fighting. If you're when you go to boxing, you see people fighting in the ring. Bodybuilding, you're going to a show, watch people flex. So is it really that necessary for him to do all that, excuse me, crazy shit behind the scenes where the audience don't see him? Like I said, I could understand if he was going for powerlifting, if he was being a powerlifter, yeah, go ahead, even though it's risky, knock yourself out. But you're talking about a bodybuilding, right? Where no audience can see you in the gym, working the weights. They go, oh snap, that's fire. You know what I'm saying? You're on stage. That's what I'm saying. And then 9 out of 10 of the bodybuilders from Jay Cutler and all of them, I guarantee you, prior to prepping for the Olympia, they weren't not they some of them wasn't going heavy, some of them was going if they was doing light, but they was doing the reps and sets. Remember, again, because I lift weights as well. It's not always about the how much you bench, it's about how much reps and sets you do. Because you could get a 45 on each plate. That's like maybe 130. That's like 135 over there. You can get a great workout, build your muscles. If you do like 10 set each, that's 20 right there, or maybe another 10. Go another 10 or 30. You can do that without risking your injury. You know what I'm saying? And he had a prior injury since high school. So why foolish enough to do that? If you're going again, the situation has never changed when he got in. It's a poor man's sport. You're competing for money. You're paying more in than you're getting out, right? And on top of that, there's no health benefits. There's no insurance for them. There's no retirement fund. When they retire, that's it. They go into the sunset. That's it. You get what I'm saying? It's not like the NBA. When you're there 10 years, your retirement kicks in. This is bodybuilding. You're doing it for the love of it, which I'm not taking away from it, but at the same time, don't be an idiot, don't be a fool, don't risk your future. You get what I'm saying? Where you have to be not even 60 yet and you're crawling on your stomach to get on a stage. That's what I'm saying is where you have to say, no, I like again, what do I have to prove? Can I bench 800 pounds? I probably could. Did you hear recently a 17-year-old girl? She was a power lifter. She died because she tried to lift so much weight. It broke. It fell on her and broke her neck. I think it was 500 pounds. She was 17. This is what I'm trying to say. You have to stop being daredevils. We're not Matt Murdock. He's not Superman. He's Rodney Coleman. He is a great. No, hear me out. He's a great Olympian. I'm not taking away from. Listen, George. I'm not taking away from his accolades. I will never do that. But I still say it was foolish. I'm probably not the only one. Everybody else probably saying it silently, but I'm the only one echoing out. I think it was foolish for him to do that. It was stupid for him to do that. I wish he didn't do it.
Well, here's the thing is, he did it because he wanted to do it. And don't compare Daredevil. That's a superhero from a comic book. Evil Knievel, Robert Bob Knievel was a daredevil. He risked his life, and he got injured several times. Daredevil is a comic book character, not it's in a book and a TV show. But Robert Knievel,
I know Daredevil is a superhero.
yeah, but you don't reference that. You reference a person that actually has done stuff like that, who has done risk his life, and did it for the fame of it. And that's the thing. Most athletes, they just do it because they love the sport. Also, the bit of the fame, and also they inspire others. Everybody.
What inspire others to what? Inspire others. I'm just asking. I'm not saying inspire others to do what.
When I'm talking, don't talk. Okay? I said let you talk. So this is my.
No, I'm not talking. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm just George. I'm not talking. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm just saying inspire them to do what. No, I'm just asking. Inspire them to do what? I'm sorry.
You ask what's asked. This is my shit. I built this shit. Me.
I know it's your show.
Okay. Now you can ask afterwards when I'm done.
Okay, I apologize.
Let elders speak first, boy. But anyway, this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to, he found his niche. He played sports and athletes before, but this somebody was something different for him, and he just found the love for it, just like Arnold did, and Arnold played that into success. Even Ronnie played that into success, you know. And anybody who gets to any kind of skill sport, be it bodybuilding, be it football, be it boxing, they do it because they love the sport, but also they love the success and the glory they gain from. Like any athlete back in the day, when gladiators to fight in the death, said we fight for the emperor, for Caesar, whoever. They do it because they love the success. They love, even though they were going to kill somebody else or an animal like that, they did it because they loved it. And they love the success and the benefits they got from it. Like gladiators get women or get food or get extra perks. You know, that's like any other athlete. They get into it because they love the sport or just love successful. Yes, understand that back in the day, football players didn't have benefits, insurance. It took them years to fight for that. I don't know what's going to happen in bodybuilding or not. It should. It should form a union where they can get these stuff, especially now at the pro level. But because it's not considered a very mainstream sport. There's money in it, but not as much money as most people might think it is. But there's money in it, and you can speak.
I'm I'm gonna go off like Jeff Goldblum said. Just because you should doesn't mean just because you can doesn't mean you should. Again, I'm gonna reiterate. If Rodney Coleman wanted to do powerlifting, I could say go for it. But then at the same time, powerlifting be like, bro, there's nothing to prove. You can do it. But at the same time, there's a lot of things people can do. But at the same time, as an athlete, there's certain things you could do that's beyond a human can do. But at the same time, you do it. Like Jason Williams, he was is in the NBA contract. It says you cannot ride a motorcycle. This fool in his rookie year, after the season was over, decides to go and ride a motorcycle. Now he tore up his leg. He could never play basketball again. And the NBA was gracious enough to let him keep his medical insurance even during his rookie year. They didn't have to do that, but they had every probable cause to take away his medical insurance to tear up his contract because in the contract, the state do not ride motorcycles. And I think in every sports there should be a contract for every athlete to say there's certain things you should not do off season, certain things even as bodybuilders. There should be a contract saying, hey, male, female bodybuilders, you should not do this situation Ronnie did. You should not go and lift weights, lift these 800-pound weights and stuff like that. There's nothing to prove. What you have to prove is on the stage. That's what you have to prove. You're to prove something is to be on the stage to show that you're the best of the best on the stage, not in the gym where the audience can't see you. Because again, all that stuff he did back in the mid 2000s, I think, that's videotape and no one can see. You have to go through the archives on YouTube just to find it. It's not floating everywhere. So again, I'm saying this, I say this out of love and out of respect. It was very foolish of him to do it. Because again, if you Miss Olympia, you beat the best of the best. That's what you need to prove. You don't need to prove that we don't need to listen. We could say, Rodney, yeah, I believe you could lift 800 pounds, but I don't think you should do it. That would have been me if I was his boy. I'm like, Rodney, I know you can lift 800 pounds. I know you can I know you can bench press that. I know you can do a deadlift, but I don't think it's worth doing. And if you tell me, oh, Jay Cutler's my hat, say, yo, fuck Jay Cutler. You're the man. That's it. Because at the end of the day, sooner or later, he's going to meet a beautiful woman, have children, and which he did. And now look at the end results. He had to do GoFundMe just for surgery and all this stuff. Bro, there's no insurance in this. That's what I'm trying to say. If you don't have no medical insurance, luckily with him, maybe there's he didn't retire from the police force. He had the insurance. But other than that, if other people don't have that luxury, get what I'm saying? So it's not. I think that should be in all the bodybuilders' contracts now when they become pro. You are not to be lifting heavy weights like this. Do not do it. If you do it, we're going to have to disqualify you because
Oh,
you're putting a risk to yourself.
well, all right, I got a man here who might slightly disagree with you. My big brother, IFBB Pro, professional bowler. NFL player. The man I used to pick on about stealing my girl, but I'm cool with it now. We're cool with it. And now it's in the back of my head. I still see that picture of him holding her and he smiling in my face, but I let it go because here's my man, Big Keith Wills.
What up?
And
George, you just need to
he
holler
knows
at her. George, you need to holler at her, man, for real. Just DM her. Just
I
say, Andrea, yo,
have.
I love you, boo. Just
Yeah.
so, just listen. All she could say is no. That's it. That's the worst she could say is no. That's it. Just holler. Just you never know. Listen, you never know. She might be into. Listen, she might dig dudes who are, what they call big dudes. She may love that. She may not
Yeah.
like dudes who are muscular. You never know.
Yeah.
Give it a
Well,
try.
I'll take your advice, but right now it's just right now we give it to him and Big Keith, and he's the one who sent me that video that we saw earlier of Ronnie, and it's just kind of really tough. So this is a man you've known, you've seen compete, and see him going through what he went through now, and yourself, what you went through the past couple of years. Now you may return to bodybuilding. You just recently just saw he just had surgery, but you can tell you that. Also, we got another guest to pop in, and that's my man KL the Wanderer.
And
And yeah, he just did an interview just earlier today, and while ago before he started. We also, I'm gonna have a discussion with him about something. So we just
what's
you know.
up?
But right now, we're gonna talk to Mr. Big Keith. You let him have the floor.
So what was Rashid talking about? What was he saying? I may disagree on what?
Well,
It's
Raheem.
Raheem, not Rashid.
Raheem. Raheem. My bad. Shit, you know how many
So
people call me Kevin?
yeah, all right. But Raheem was saying that he said that I think that last week when you and Ben were on tour, like we asked that Ronnie Coleman would have done the things he did with his situation now. But y'all say he would have kept on doing it and he put on more weight. It
Yeah,
wouldn't matter.
yeah. And that's just insane to me, because the video I sent you, I can't imagine being bigger than life. Here's the thing. 2 years ago I went through some shit and I can't imagine not being where I'm back at right now. So I can't imagine being him. And some people's mental capacities are different. And he may compartmentalize a lot of things, compartmentalize a lot of things that he does. But I can't imagine being the biggest, best creature on the planet to this day, and nobody ever bring anything like that to crawling on stage in front of a captivating audience. I just can't imagine that. I mean, that's just me. But Ronnie is different. Like Dorian said, he had brought, when he came on the scene, he had brought a different, like Lee Haney started it, then Dorian took it to a whole different level, but then Ronnie just took it to a whole different planet, which nobody can ever touch again. I mean, and that was just the bottom line. And and the end results is where he's at now. Because I get it to a certain degree when you failed so much, and I wouldn't necessarily fail, but not place as high as he was wanting to, and now being in a place where he's the king of the mountain and you got to knock him off. You know, I get it because again, I tell people when I win, don't let me win a title like that because you ain't gonna never knock me off my throne because I'm just gonna work harder and harder. Whereas some guys fall off the cliff because they get comfortable in their space. The guys who've won it once and won it twice. There's Phil, there's Jay, there's Ronnie, there's Dorian, there's Lee Haney. All these guys, their fuel was winning. But again, Ronnie was just different because he pushed his body to the. I mean, whose fucking leg press was 2,300 pounds for one? Our front squat's fucking 500 pounds for reps. I mean, only Ronnie Coleman did that. Only him. And that's why we see that's why he's at where he's at today. I ain't mad at him. It was just, if it was, my buddy said this happened to me at the gym today, Keenan. We had this discussion, that we were going to talk about, that we're talking about now. He says there's two different ways you can look at it. If somebody said, you are going to make enough money to take care of your children by doing this for the next how many years Ronnie competed, would you do it? My answer was no, because I have 4 active children. And I coached Kansas basketball team. I coached Kansas softball team. Keenan's 4 now. We have a son that plays college basketball. We have another son to play in MLB. And not being able to travel. And I remember when I got my car accident, I was literally getting on airplanes with the neck brace on, with wrist braces on, with the back brace on, and being wheeled to the front of the airplane, barely being able to walk, and watching all these people look at me. And I was like, it was just embarrassing, and it was but humbling at the same time. So I can't imagine you, this bigger than life guy, happen to do that. That's just me. I want to be able to walk, play, run, and live a normal life with my children. You know, and again, I didn't even know if I should be on this show because people can call me a hypocrite because I've been through a lot of shit too, and I'm still competing. But I've come to the conclusion that either this year or next year will be my last year competing, period. Then I'm done. I have nothing else to prove to anybody. I just wanted to do this because I didn't go out on my own terms, and now I'm going to go out on my own terms, and I'll be happy with it.
Yeah, because that's what it is. You do it because you love the sport and you love the passion of it, and plus you want to do it your way. Now everybody's going to be different. Like what Ronnie did was different compared to what you did was different. What Flex did was different. What Arnold did was different. What somebody like, if you look at any competitor who got in this sport, they did it because they want to do it their way, and along the way, they inspire people. You know, who feel like, you know what, this is somebody, you know, even like right, he said like no one's paid, but you know, really, Ronnie Coleman, his memes and stuff are out there. It's really, he's growing as a legend in the last few years. Yes, he might regret the things he did, but you know what, he accepted those things.
Here's the thing that people have to understand about Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman, when he went to the police force, he for one was the rookie of the year his first year. He's a double major in economics and finance, if I want to say. The dude is super smart. Don't let his fucking voice and the way he talks fool you, because this dude is worth millions. Because he was a smart guy. He was a smart business guy as well as a bodybuilder, and his brand is still thriving. His brand thrives more overseas than it is here. But who gives a shit when you're still making money? Not a lot of bodybuilders are making money.
It's just that Texas talk. That's all it is. I know about that Texas talk Ronnie does. But no. But what I say is that I am never going to discredit his achievements, Ronnie Coleman, or anything. What I said is there's a lot of risks to do what you do and everything, but is it worth it? Because at the end of the day, like I told George before you got on, I was like, no one's seen you guys in the gym hitting all those weights. What people go to do to see the bodybuilders, they see a flexing. Now, if it's a powerlifting competition, I get it, but it's still kind of risky. You get what I'm saying? But no one's there. The only one that's there seeing you, him lifting to almost 2,300 pounds and leg press and everything are, his gym buddies. That's it. There's no Ronnie Coleman fans going to the gym and saying, "Oh, wow, look at that's amazing." There's barely any video on YouTube of that. You know what I'm saying? Because all this stuff happened during the mid 2000s or early 2000s, so there's not really that much footage of it. So that's why it's kind of hard to say, "Oh, that he inspired me to do that." The only people that knows that is you, Keith, George, and KL. That we've seen it, but everybody else hasn't seen it because again, there wasn't a lot of enough people videotaping it and everything. And some people might be like, "Yo, that's cool, but I can't go that hard."
Here's the question. So are you saying that it was more for cosmetic reasons that he was doing that versus him trying to grow? I remember seeing Ronnie Coleman's legs for the first time in North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, and he shook it. It was like a goddamn sequoia tree. And this when I first got into bodybuilding. And I was like, that's not normal. Well, it's not normal because not every guy is leg pressing 2,300 pounds. And he's not doing it for ego. He's doing it for fucking reps. He's doing it to grow. I asked Chad Nichols who was Ronnie's trainer for years. I said, what's the difference between Ronnie Coleman and everybody else? Ronnie Coleman just listened and pushed himself as hard as he could on his own recognizance. A lot of people don't train with Charles Glass because Charles Glass is a technician of training people. So it's a science. It's a certain way he has you train. It's harder, isometric, and people don't want that. They just want to do their own things. So as Rashid is saying that to me, as I'm saying, as a bodybuilder, you have to understand, my job is to go into the gym and just push my body as hard as I can, weight-wise, but training smart, not to get hurt, because that's the only way I'm going to grow. Guys are not getting smaller in this sport. They're getting bigger. Physique guys are getting bigger. Classic physique guys are getting bigger. Men's bodybuilding guys are getting bigger. So that's the evolution of our sport. It's just like football, baseball, hockey, basketball. The sport has evolutionized to get bigger, stronger, faster. That's just the way the world of sports works. And so we have no choice but to, I asked Dexter a long time ago. I said, Dexter, how did you compete for, I mean, he think he retired when he was 52 on the top of his game with the most wins in bodybuilding. He says, I got to a point where I trained smarter. And I was like, what? He goes, my body's maxed out, so I just train smarter. And that's a lot of people that you see, even in the gym where I go to, I see all these people lifting this weight, and then I look at them and I go, you look no fucking different. So how about cut the weight in half and do proper reps and proper weight, and maybe you'll start seeing some results. But again, that's what people see instead of understanding the science that goes behind what we do is lift heavy, but smart, not to wreck your body, listen to your body, but that's not what people see. I know I brought that up right by saying 2,300 pounds, but he wanted to do 2,300 pounds. There's not very many people on this earth that can do that shit. Ronnie Coleman can, and the problem I think with him is when he got hurt, he would come back too soon and get hurt again. Come back too soon, pop a screw out of I can't imagine the back fusion I went through a year and a half ago. He's went through that shit like 2 or 3 times. I can't imagine going through that again, ever. So I have to sit here and say, when my body gets to a certain point, like last week, I just had a back ablation where they burn the nerves in my back, burn the nerves so that I don't feel anything, but it's not doing any damage because my SI joints. You just have to be really smart about what you're doing and how you train. And I see a chiropractor, I see a massage therapist, I see my doctors on a regular basis. So you just have to be smart about how you train. I don't think it's a thing where you got ego lifters, and you're right, Raheem. You do got ego lifters, but you got guys like me, like Samson, like a lot of guys are just training to get bigger because everybody else is getting bigger. So we have no choice. So I don't think it's an ego thing. I think it's part of our business and what we do.
Well, Keith, I also live myself, and I'm planning next year to do supplement because my doctor told me. So I told my doctor that I'm getting married this August, and me and my girl about to make baby. He said, "Well, don't do that yet. Don't do the supplements yet." He said next year. So I mean, I live as well, but I know when my body says to me, "Hey, enough is enough." Like I said, I'm not. This is me coming at a out of love for the sport and for Mr. Coleman. It's not me getting on him. It's just that, like I said, you know, dude, no one's there to see you, and you already Mr. Olympia. You kicking ass. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, I gotta prove something. But he loves what he's doing. That's great. And at the end of the day, I'm sorry, there's a train behind me. I'm just getting out of sore. And at the end of the day, this sport has no health insurance. That's why this is what me getting more mad about. It's like, okay, if it had health insurance, risk it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you could be like, hey, my medical insurance can take care of the back surgery, the leg surgery, all that stuff. But when you don't have that, you have to put a pause on lifting the 2300, the 800. You get what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
not saying that you can do it. It's saying, oh shit, I'm in a sport that has no insurance. That means if I fuck up my legs or I fuck up my back, guess what? I have to come out of pocket.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
You're
That's what I'm
right.
saying to any female, any bodybuilder, male or female. You're in a sport that has no benefits. There's no retirement funds, nothing. So why risk all that stuff? You're already risking stuff as it is, but
Well,
why risk that? That's all I'm saying.
and here's the thing: Jason who beat me at USA's many years ago, he retired from bodybuilding. I remember. Oh, we actually the last time we competed, we were in Tampa, and he had this big beard. I think Jason's all of 5'8", maybe 5'7", big old beard, bald head, and I was like, dude, you gotta, because they were talking about bodybuilders having facial hair at the time, and how it was distracting and taken away. And Jason looked at me and says, look, if I can't win with it, I can't win without it. And he goes, because if I cut my beard off and I lose, what was it for? The moral of the story is that Jason came out with a story and said he was done bodybuilding because he was done the sport using him up. And he started his own business in Florida, a supplement business, very successful. And he goes, I need to be here for my family, not here for the NPC or the IFBB because they can give two shits about us. And he's right. They don't care about us Because and it's hard for an industry like this to carry insurance, like my insurance, the NFLPA, because we get drug tested in the NFL, NBA. What was the guy who, for I want to say Milwaukee, just got suspended for to the end of the season for Toradol or some medication that his buddy gave him. It's a painkiller. But we get tested. Unlike this sport that doesn't test, because where's everybody wants to see the biggest, baddest dudes on stage. That's why Ronnie and those guys in the '90s were insane, because those Sean Ray, those guys were insane because they were just big and everything else. The sport wants to see that, and so the IFBB is not ever going to back down on sitting there saying, "Well, we're going to test for gear," or "Well, we're going to test for this," because that's not the name of the game in this sport. Not where the big boys play at anyway. So, everybody has their opinion. Like I said, I came on here like, should I be the one that's talking? Because I'm one of those guys, who is, last week I had a back blade. A couple weeks ago I had a back ablation. Then I had some Uflex knee injections. Trying to keep Humpty Dumpty together for the next couple years. So I'm like, am I the right person that should be asking this question to? But I also understand that once I get to a point where my body can't take it anymore, I'm done. I'm done. I've got what I've needed out of the sport. The sport has got what they needed out of me. I've done very well for myself, so I don't live on the grounds of having to compete, to make a living. Let's just say that. And a lot of other bodybuilders like Juan Morel, Kai Green. There's a lot of other people who have Dana Lynn Bailey, who have stepped back and understand the business mantra for themselves is not through bodybuilding. And again, I will always quote Kai on saying this: use the sport for what you can get out of the sport, not what the sport can get out of you. And now Kai is worth millions of dollars. And that dude was homeless, because he understood, after Generation Iron, the shoes, competing, the movies, and all this other stuff, there was more to it than just bodybuilding. And I get it. I understand.
Where you mentioned Kai Green. I saw this. I don't know if I shared it with you, that he might be making his return. As you know, he had competed for almost maybe about 15 years or more.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that. Here's the thing. Kai Green left on his own recognizance. He didn't leave because he was getting beat. He was facing second to field, and I think that was the frustration that he didn't think that they were ever going to live. And the thing that sucks is when Phil retired, and I think when he retired, Kai had stepped away. He did step away, and then Sean won. And it would have been interesting to see if Sean wouldn't have walked away if Kai could have beat Sean. So I think that Kai, who's on a completely different level than me, feels that he may have something in the tank. I don't know if it's the Mr. Olympia, but I know it'll fare better than when Kevin came back and when Flex came back. This guy's just a different dude. So I think he's just training hard, eating right, and if he wanted to go back to the stage, I wouldn't bet against him. I'll put it that way. Because he wasn't hurt or injured when he was competing. He was healthy. So he just walked away because I always tell people, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And if, he started his own supplement company, then he got rid of it. Then he went with, Aaron Singerman and all these guys. Kais is making really smart and great moves, and he understands the dynamics of the sport and what it entails. And so, I ain't mad at him. I love Kai. So, I think he's one of the smartest, creative guys I know when it comes to taking advantage of everything that you can possibly take advantage of in the sport. And he did.
Yeah. Here's a little video. He's about to deadlift, then he's looking at a muffin, and then he he decided to go for the muffin. But yeah, from like I said, when I talk to y'all, especially, that's why I enjoyed to have you on, brother, because you give me a perspective that I am an outsider. I'm a guy who follows the sport, who does interviews and talk to particularly the ladies. And I really want to understand what really motivates you in different conversations, because they enjoy it. They understand there's a lot of risk to anything. But here's the thing is, there's no reward without risk. If you're not willing to put yourself out there, and take that chance. You don't get anything out of it, and then you sit there. Then you're gonna have regrets that you didn't do what you did. I mean, just sometimes I regret I should have did something. I should have did this in my life, and then now I'm sitting back older, so you know what? I regret why I didn't do it.
Here's the
But I
thing,
understand.
and we talked
Go ahead.
about this a couple weeks ago when the Weeder brothers came here and had the idea to do what they not even the bodybuilding shows. I mean, they went from the bodybuilding shows, but they want to open a gym, and every bank in the world laughed at them. Here's the thing: look at our world we live in now. How many gyms are in the city you live in? A lot, probably. But in the
Well, not
world,
my
the
city.
gyms are in the world. The gyms are everywhere, and these guys are laughing at these guys and their vision. And that's the crazy thing is that there's a lot of things that people like. I mean, just think if they wouldn't have did it. Just think if they would have like, okay, this is a stupid idea. Let's go back. That guy who created Amazon. All these every idea that we have to do or want to do or something is it starts with us. It starts from an idea. So you either do it or you don't do it. If you either want to compete or you don't want to compete. I tell my clients that is a personal decision on them. If they want to walk away and don't want to compete anymore, that's fine. They tried it, they liked it. I've ran into a couple guys the last couple days at my gym who are about to do a natural show, and it's amazing how much knowledge these people don't have. Like I'm gonna do a show. Well, my dad's gonna help me do it, but he's a power lifter, so he's having me up eating a lot of protein just to bulk up. And I'm like, oh Lord, I'm listening. I'm like, that spells disaster all over it. But again, it's one of these things that, and it's sad because these kids out there that Raheem was right. We see the I seen we can see Ronnie, but these kids, and it's not about the reckless aspect of it. It's about how to train right, and it's about how to do. There's so many people. I'm like, you want to watch me train? You want to watch me work out? There's probably 100 YouTube videos out there on YouTube of me. This group, Big Keith Williams, backflip. Big Keith Williams, this. Big Keith Williams, that. I mean, we shot a lot of videos on muscular development. We shot a lot of videos with Flex Magazine. We shot a lot of videos with Stand and Flex. We shot a lot of videos. So if you go there, so I tell people, if you don't want to hire me, you can always go look at my videos and watch what I do. I'm not talking about anything. I'm just training, but I watch a lot of videos. I get a lot of my creative ideas for myself in my training, watching Samson train, watching certain guys do certain things to give me different ideas, even though I know so much, but again, I told somebody yesterday, I said, I even have a coach in Melanie Specco because I have to have a subjective point of view when I prep. I can prep myself. I've tried it and it was okay, but it's not the same as having a coach sitting there and looking at you and be like, no, we're gonna do this. It's kind of like Samson and his wife. Everybody's giving her so much shit, but that dude is the best bodybuilder on the planet because he trusts this one person that knows his body, and that's his wife. And it's just like Melanie. She knows me and Tina inside and out. So I trust her. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying with the same person. And the end result is the end result. So when it comes to training, I always tell people, I see a lot of people train in the gym and they look the same. And I said, if that was me, I would be super frustrated because what aren't I doing right? Am I not training right? Am I not eating right? It's something within that equation of what you're doing that's not working for you, and you got to figure it out. And some people just don't. I said, even when I'm trying to learn how to cook something, I go to YouTube. Seriously, I made some chicken noodle soup. I made some new rib flavor all off of YouTube, and it's been great. So I always tell people, knowledge is power, and the smartest guy in the room is always going to ask the most questions. And like you said, and you said it best about 5 minutes ago. You said, you know things that the rest of us don't know. So to get a better understanding of how this sport really works inside and out, I'm going to ask somebody who's in the sport. And that's the smartest guy in the room because you're asking questions. Dave Palumbo, Charles Glass, Flex Wheeler, Stan Efferding will tell you one thing about me. I ask a lot of questions. I listen and I own the shit that I'm taught. Some is good, some is bad, but I own it. And that's where I'm at, where I am today, especially when I didn't even start playing sports to high school. So I had to be that person who had to choose to listen, to be coachable in order for me to be successful. If you're not coachable, you're never going to be successful. Not in this sport, not in any sport I've ever competed in. So that's the bottom line. And when people talk about me, they're like, he's the most coachable person I know just because I didn't know shit about this sport. I didn't know anything. diet, nutrition, nothing. I didn't know anything. When I started playing football, I didn't know how to hold on to a football, this and other. I played, but on the streets with my buddies. But once I got to the high school program, it's people trying to strip the ball out of your hand, trying to do different things. So I had to reprogram my mind and reprocess my body to learn the things I need to learn in order to be where I'm at today.
Yeah. Asking all the questions, asking all the questions, asking all the questions. A fool. Yeah. I saw that. I was like, last weekend, I saw that video. But yeah, I understand, why you are, what motivates you into it and what motivates any of your competitors in it. And sometimes I really, I admire your commitment, your passion, your discipline. It's me, I'm not too disciplined. But a while back, a lady I interviewed, she made an announcement. And I want to give her a shout here. That's Lisa Segay. She is a figure competitor from Australia. I interviewed a while back. She made her debut as a pro last year. She did Triple O and also did another show after that. Great lady. We keep in contact. And she made an announcement. Here we got a comment from Raheem. Yeah, shout out to man Raheem. He says this. He says, Keith is the man. Keith,
No, that's you, dog. I'm just
he
in the
says,
world.
he said, had to get on the train. He says, yeah, but he says, but this foot was on the line with blowing. Okay, yeah, okay. But anyway, I'll pull this video that she posted, and I'll give a shout out to Lisa. She runs her own podcast, which is the GoFundMe podcast. No, Go Figure podcast, with her friend and partner, Rose Black. And, she's a trainer, mom. Her son also has he has a pacemaker. And that really goes close home for me. Bitch should be a person with a pacemaker. And she made this announcement, and, I posted it and shared it on my social media. So here's the video. I'm going to run it.
I've been involved in the bodybuilding industry for 25 years. I am passionate about it. I am passionate about women in our sport, and I'm passionate about making and creating opportunities for women in our sport. So I have dedicated a lot of my life, not just to being an athlete, but to sponsoring various shows, supporting all federations, especially in Australia, because we are quite small. And in terms of professional opportunities in this country, we're quite limited in regards to, if you're a pro athlete. And it's something that I'm going to continue to pursue, and I've got lots of exciting opportunities that are coming up in that space where I'm going to be really focusing on the Go Figure Academy, which has multiple arms to support all federations in creating funding, sponsorship, coaching, and posing excellence in their respective federations. Now, being a professional athlete myself with the IFBB Pro League, it's a challenging and very difficult decision to have to choose between your livelihood and your passion and your coaching or being a professional athlete in bodybuilding, whether it's the IFBB or NABA or ICN or PMBA or AMB. As a professional athlete, 95% of us are never going to make any money. Essentially, we are paying for a membership to have a platform to compete on. And that's the reality. I've been doing it for 25 years. And, yes, I've won some checks last year. I've been very fortunate to place in my debut year as a professional. And, even as an amateur, I might have received a few checks here or there. But when I'm in a position where I need to choose between my livelihood, putting food on the table for my son, who's my world, and making the right decisions, not necessarily the easy decisions, it has led me to this point today. And this point that I'm at right now is actually, it's nervous. It's a little bit sad. But I understand that it's the right decision for me to make. And that decision is actually stepping back as a professional athlete from the IFBB Pro League. I was going to retire this year. This year was going to be my last year competing. And I wanted to do, get on the stage just one more time and have the opportunity to compete at the Masters Olympia. Now, the last 4 weeks has me been really going, why am I doing this? And I felt myself, I submitted my application, I put it in, and there was this little bit inside of me, something just wasn't feeling right. I just didn't have that drive. I didn't have that passion behind it. And I found when I sat with myself and I was like down at the beach, and I kind of came to the realization that I was making a decision based on the wrong decision. And it was coming from a space of ego, a place of needing to gratify. And then I was wrapping it up saying, I'm doing it for my son. But the truth is that Kai has seen me compete. He has seen me win. He has seen me lose, and lose gracefully. And he has seen me win and win humbly. And so for me, that was a big part of my why. That was a big part of my why. Last year, he got to see me win as a professional athlete on an international stage, place against Olympians. And it was a wonderful opportunity. And that was a real why, because I want Kai to grow up, to know that when he puts his mind to something, he can achieve anything that he wants. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to cry. And this little kid, he's the apple of my life. And it was in that moment that I realized that part of being a great example as a parent is also making tough decisions and tough choices. So whilst my 25-year career as a bodybuilder is coming to an end, my focus and my passion now is on 2 prominent arms, and that first arm is really growing and supporting all women in bodybuilding and creating a platform for them where they can create excellence in their craft and support federations in Australia to be able to accrue more funding for sponsorships, prize money, and things like that. So this next generation of athletes, and especially in our country, in Australia, do have something that they can work towards. Not just the trophy, but they get to be the athlete. They get to compete as the athlete. So there are a couple of separate arms in that business, which this is not what the podcast is about. I should say this is not what today's announcement is about. But I realized that that's what I'm really passionate about. So that's one part. And the second part is my kid's 10 this year. Kai, for those that know, has had a really hard start to his life. He was born without a heart. He's had several open heart surgeries, and he has been so patient and so amazing in me pursuing my bodybuilding career, traveling overseas with me and going to all the shows and all the workshops, and just an absolute freaking champion. And I want to be able to spend more of my quality time with him. Like, he's 10 now. In 8 years' time, he's going to be 18. I've got 8 summers left with him. And so that was another part of my decision. I have a vision for women in bodybuilding. I have a vision that I want to create. And I'm not going to be able to create that vision where there is opportunities for this next generation under the Pro League banner, and certainly not as an active pro athlete, which is why I'm actually renouncing my pro card in this podcast. So that was hard. I said it. Now, what does that mean moving forward? Like I said, I will be supporting all federations and promoting all federations, both here in Australia and overseas. Does it mean that I'm never going to compete again? Highly likely, but there might be one show left. Again, I am indecisive about that. And the reason for that is my focus right now is on my son and spending more time with him and growing and building and evolving the Go Figure Academy. And like I said, there'll be other posts where I'll be making separate announcements to that. And I just feel as though now was the right time. You know, sometimes life throws you some curveballs and you're left making a decision that is well and truly outside of your control. And while I was down at the beach yesterday, yet again.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to go through all of it because it's really heartwarming what she's doing right now, stepping away from something she loved for the last 27 years. I know she's a nice lady. You know, like I said, we still talk now and then. She trains other competitors. She also runs her own podcast. It's been mentioned before. It's a pretty good podcast. She recently just did an interview with former women's physique champion Shanique Grant, who's now switching over to wellness, making a wellness debut this year. And also she's Mr. Trescott, who also is making a switch over to figure. Here he is, these folks, bringing my brothers here. We have him, my man KL Wonders came back. He's popped back in. Hey, brother. And also my man Big Keith, he's here. And appreciate that. Before we start this, I have to talk to KL for a bit.
Well, what you gonna talk to me about?
What
you gonna talk to me?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm a Scorpio, and we sometimes are kind of possessive, jealous. We're mental cases. We're seen as more like psychos. I admit it. I am a psychopath in some ways. Especially when I use a guy like the Joker as a moniker. My man KL was at the OCB show. Yay! He did an OCB show yesterday, and he posted some lives. He had a good time. He enjoyed himself. Then I see this on his in his stories.
Yeah.
And this young lady is what? That's Michelle Moon Johnson. I just interviewed Michelle a couple of months ago. And
you look good together. Huh?
Yeah. I'm like wondering, so what you do up with my girl, man? I mean,
I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. She asked me. We was talking. I didn't do nothing. I didn't ask her for a picture. She volunteered to want to do a picture. And I said, okay, I'm not going to refuse. You got all of you get all the women. And you interview all these women. I can't even get a time of day with most of the women that you interview. Now, when I go to a show and I see somebody that you have interviewed, probably have, and I had some interest not a bit, but I had some interest. I approached the young lady and I said, hey, how are you? You Michelle Moon, aren't you? She said, yeah. And then we started talking. I seen you on my friend's All the Race George Page interview. It was good. then she enjoyed it. She I think she took the picture because she was like she appreciated me, you know, approaching her and stuff. So you know, so the end of the story. It's not like it ain't that deep. I said we were sitting a little bit. We talked. I got up and went to another seat. That's it. Nothing like ain't no intimacy, no head over heels, sexy love type of shit going on. Nothing like that. Get over it, man. Like, come on, bro.
Cam,
It
you
doesn't
ain't gotta
matter.
justify it to us, bro. We love you. You ain't gotta justify it to us.
It doesn't matter. There was an interview. You were touching her. You were
So
touching
what?
her.
I ain't touch her. I didn't touch her.
Kate, I'm still hearing the same shit about Andrea, and I'm working out in the same gym as her.
But he lenient with you. He lenient with you though. He not gonna mess with you on that. He not gonna mess with you.
Hey, and I took the picture. Hey, KL, and I took the picture for him, not even me.
Oh, what?
Hey, you see my wife?
What?
You see my wife? You think I got a goddamn death wish? Are you nuts?
What? So for me? Oh, thanks, brother. No, I know. I thought you know what? You, David, Jared, y'all on my hit list right now. But you know what? Like I said,
He had somebody flex. He had this lady I wanted to talk with for a while. I ain't get no play, and she was flex. She did a crab pose right in front of him. She was flexing right in front of him and stuff. I was like, damn, get out of here. Like, oh, wow.
Hey, quit playing victim. Yeah, big bro, quit playing victim. Yeah,
Who, me?
Yeah, he had somebody flexing in front of him.
Oh man, that's why I love you.
Well, my man Raheem, I think he gets me. He understands what I'm thinking. He says, Kale, you should have said to her, I know you are tired because you've been running through my mind all day.
Lord.
Hey, don't be giving no ideas.
Hey, you know what? That's sad about that, Raheem. That's a line to a guy that's engaged. That's the last thing I would say to a chick. She'd be like, "Oh, really? That's what you gonna say to me? You done blew it." She gonna walk away and say some shit like that.
Yeah. It's like my feet. It's like my feet sometimes, Raheem. That's corny. You got like corny. Also, from he says George just holler at her, man, because Jesus Christ, whatever. But anyway, like I said, we'll let that go. I'm just your balls, Tail. You know I am.
Okay.
Touching your balls. I'm just, But as you know, I was watching. This is Elisa's, comment. Yeah, it is about this. It's important to find what you want out of this life, especially out of this sport. To go do something, outside of it if you can. And, like we saw Kai Green think about returning, he said he hadn't really retired. And Lisa mentioned that she might even come back. Maybe she might try to do one more show. And that's the thing is, sometimes we see this because you've seen when Tom Brady retired, he came back for one more time. Or when, who else? Michael Jordan, he came back one more time. It's like any athlete. Sometimes you just can't just simply walk away, and then you have that calling and that need, maybe something to fulfill something just because you love the sport.
You ever seen this lady that was talking compete, George?
Oh, you mean Lisa? Yeah, interviewed Lisa.
Oh yeah, I know you did, but I just said for curious, you ever seen her compete?
Yeah, she did the Triple O Dynasty last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I reached out a little bit right after the show, and we got to talk after her last show that was in Georgia because she's still in the States, so we were able to talk. Here, this is from man Kale. He says, not Kale. I mean Raheem. He says, give me a second. He says, this is about swag. That's all. Okay, and also he says this. He says, Tom Brady came back and his wife left him. Yeah, yeah. Like I remember it was like South Park was doing these like little skits. So it's like, I'm Tom Brady, and I'm gonna retire and go home to my hot ass wife that looks like a dude.
Who makes more money than his ass too? Shit.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, here he goes. He like he just talking shit. He says, "Corny George, what lines do you have?" Like I, hey dude, I got some practice. Says, hey, are you from
I ain't gonna
Tennessee?
lie, that wasn't the greatest line, but
Yeah, yeah. Are you from Tennessee? Because you're only 10. I see.
Oh Lord. How about just don't say nothing?
Just like simply say, like, just step up to lady and say, hey, excuse me, man, is your husband married? But yeah, that's that. Hey, I know.
Oh
Hey,
Lord.
I had fun with ladies. We had a good time. We talked and discussions. But like anybody who gets in the sport, is the risk often worth the reward of it? And she mentioned, she was lucky here and there, get some places, and then make some money out of it. And now I think, just like Kai and Dalen Bailey or any competitor who left the sport for their reasons, now she's found something else. Now she's going to coach and train with people, start her own business. Also, Australia is it's a very kind of gated community as it comes to bodybuilding. There's only a handful of bodybuilders that, if you know, like people like Bear Francis, Lee Priest, Christian some couple here or there that were top level competitors back in the day, and or also in other countries where it's really stretching. There's opportunities there. It's a sport where if you maybe not a competitor, you can work behind the scenes, a coach, a promoter,
Well, and I
trainer.
and I think what you say the lady name who was retired, Lisa?
Lisa Sagan.
So, Lisa's smart because she understands this. She wants, if you listen to her words, she says, I want to support the other organizations besides the NPC and IFBB. By her renouncing her pro card, what she's doing is she understands that we can't just go out to the OBC show. We can't go out to NAMBF show. We can't go out because the NPC is the NPC for us, and IFBB is IFBB. When we break that code, it becomes a problem. And I told you guys last year, the guy who had Olympia qualification, who was seen at a different show or something, lost his qualification. There's so much control over us when it comes to the IFBB, and I look at the IFBB as a USOC. I watched this documentary where this guy had all these stickers on him, was running, had all these stickers on him, and because the USOC wasn't getting paid for it, that he couldn't wear them. Well, he's like, well, this is how I'm making money because you guys are not paying me money. You guys pay for my training, my food, this, that, and other. I get it. I was at the Olympic Center in San Diego in '96, but that only carries so much weight. So in order for us to make residual income, he had all these stickers on them for all these different companies running, and they told me how to take them off. I remember getting ready for the Olympic trials in '96 in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was sponsored by Nike at the time. And we had to go through this gate, and I don't know, somebody must have got a phone call from NBC because there's like Nike athletes have all this Nike stuff, and our logos are huge and everything else. So as we're going through the warm up area to check in, they automatically said we're allowed to show 3 logos, and then they put tape on all the other logos because what they realized is that Nike was getting free advertisement out of all the shit that we were wearing. And so NBC said when they come through this gate, they get to choose. Well, I think one was my singlet, my shoes, and something else. But everything else they taped up because to the USOC and to the IFBB and to the NPC, it's about coin. You know, they're going to get paid first, and they always get paid first before the athlete. And that's just the way it is, and that's the way it's always been. But again, she's saying what she's doing is so she can broaden her horizon, not just help NPC or IFBB athletes, but other federations that are struggling too. And I think that's super cool because you can't do it
Yeah, that's
being
good.
tied down to the IFBB or NPC. Well, more so the IFBB because she's a pro than the NPC because they will blackball your ass.
Yeah, because like that is a good thing for what she's doing, and you know what? If things settle when she ever wants to come back, she says she might have one more show in her. That's her option. If not, she's now going on doing something else that really satisfies her life, her career. Like I said, she has a son. He's 10 years old. He's like I said again. He's dealing with heart. He has a pacemaker like I do, and she wants to spend more time with him, but also to grow her business and her brand, like how Kai did, how David Lynn did. A lot of these competitors who walked away from all the Schwarzenegger's a good example of that. Also, how he left bodybuilding and now
I mean,
he's
hey, another guy who I keep forgetting of, who did really well, opened up a restaurant in New York, in you guys' hometown, Juan Morel. Him and his wife designed those cookies, those monster cookies, and they got these bodybuilding cookies, and Juan trains out of Steve's gym out there, and so I knew it was about to be this big idea because they had this cookie called the monster cookie or something. It's like walking instant diabetes to me, but they have all these different flavors. But when the next time I went to the Olympia in Orlando, the last time it was there, they were one of the main sponsors. Do you know how much money you have to be one of the main sponsors? So Juan has now walked away from bodybuilding, and he was doing really well. He's kind of like Kai, one of those New York guys as well, was doing really well. But he understood, I'm never gonna, and he was honest. He goes, I would love to be in the top 5 at the Olympia. I know that I'm never going to win the Olympia, so. I love some of these athletes that are walking away, investing in their own brand, saying, I have got what I needed out of the sport, which I've got a cookie business. Me and my wife got this unbelievable restaurant here in New York, which everybody goes to, I guess. And he's doing well for himself. Kai, I'm doing movies now. I got my own shoe. I got clothes. I'm partnering up with Aaron Singerman at what's this? What is this company? Aaron Singerman, what's this company? Redcon. So these athletes are now starting to understand, and I'm sure so is Lisa, is that you're going to make more money, more residual income not competing than competing. And that's just the bottom line. And that's just the reality of our sport. But so many people, I hear so many people come to me, I just want a pro card, I just want a pro card. I go, why? I understand it's a goal, but I'm like, why? Because you're constantly paying into a system every year. $275 every year to be a pro. Here's the thing. Here's the question I have for all you guys. You think that any NBA, NFL player, MLB player, if they told them you're going to get drafted in the first round, but we understand what kind of money you're making, but you got to give the NFL $100,000 of that money, and that's pennies on the dollar for them, but still. How would that work? It wouldn't. It would not work because I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, it's like these NIL deals. The same thing now. My son had to hire an agent, to get more money, But can you imagine your agent coming to talk to Jim Mannion or Samson's wife or somebody come talk to Jim Mannion and say, we understand that he's bringing over half the people in this house, so we need a percentage of that. Yeah, right. That'll never happen. And that's the USOC and the IFBB in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well, Raheem has returned, so brother, you were watching some on the train and you got that corny comment. So, what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm still on the bus, but I'll be brief. My thoughts is that with the it's like we keep saying, this sport, it it is excuse me, I'm losing my train of thought. It's a network, and you gotta when you come into it, your goal shouldn't just be focusing on not just getting your pro card or just getting becoming Mr. or Miss Olympia. You also gotta remember that it is it's a meet and greet, a networking, because when you go to those pro shows and everything, as a bodybuilder, you got all these businesses, small businesses, and everything there, and you could be like, especially the expos, you like, should I get into this type of business right here, making cookies, or oh, this a representative from Nike, or like for instance, Shaquille O'Neal is like a lot of bodybuilders don't know. Shaq is actually the president of Reebok. Him and Allen Iverson. So Shaq is a big fan of bodybuilding. As a pro athlete, if that was me meeting Shaq at the Expos or at the Olympia, I would have gone up to Shaq, spoke with him. Because remember, he's the president of Reebok, and I would see how I could, me as a pro bodybuilder, see how I can get a shoe deal with Reebok, since the president of Reebok, which is Shaquille O'Neal, is a fan of bodybuilders. See, we sometimes the athletes just drop the ball, not realizing that there's other income here at these expos or at the Olympia. It's just I need to talk to them. That's how at the end of the day I need to talk to them and let them know my personality, like Dana Lynn Bailey, like Kai Green. This bodybuilding it's like Saturday Night Live. It's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to where you want to go as an actor, as an athlete. That's what it really is. It's not for you. It's not meant to be like a longevity thing because again, Arnold stayed and went. Not everybody that became everybody successful in this field stayed longer, and that's the problem. It's the longevity. You got to get in there as a stepping stone and move forward because the money, like you said, the money's not really in bodybuilding. It's a stepping stone. It's to get you networking, and that's where you have to either take it or still struggle.
And you guys should know this. You guys are all WWE fans. The Rock, I mean, all these guys that John Cena, he's just blown up. They understood their vision, and I remember talking to Brock Lesnar, is a good friend of mine. I remember talking to him. And he had walked away. And then he came back. And I said, "Why did you leave?" He said, "Between the drugs and the being on the road all the time and the drinking and all the stuff, it just wears on you." You know, in essence, bodybuilding's the same way. The dieting, the traveling, the training, the supplements, and all this stuff. It just wears on you sometimes. So Raheem is actually absolutely right when he says that we need to have I'm starting to take acting classes thanks to Raheem, because I got a couple auditions tomorrow that they're gonna call me, and they send me these scripts that I read and all this other stuff. Because I'm like, and a lot of people have asked me like, why don't you do movies? Why don't you do something? And I'm like, it's not my lane, but I guess I can try it or whatever case to me, because people say that I'm well spoken, whatever case to me. But again, it's Kai Green did it, I mean, Stranger Things, Mortal Kombat, the shoes and all this other stuff. And then Kai starts sitting back, I think when he went over to Europe, and he says, I understand how big my brand is here, and people love Kai. He'll sit here on this goddamn show and talk to us till our ears fall off. He talks more than I do, which is hard to, which can't you imagine that shit? So again, it's one of those things, but Kai's just Kai. And that's why people love him, because he's real, authentic, and transparent of the things he say, and that's why people like him. And that's why the sport lost a good guy when he walked away. And part of that was because, I remember, I think the video, if you go to the YouTube video with me, him, and CT Fletcher, it was a disagreement about Phil getting a booth for a certain price or for free from Flex because he was the Mr. Olympia, and Kai having to pay something. And Kai goes, no, and this is a year that Generation Iron came out. He's like, I'm a bigger fan favorite than Phil, which he was. And he knew he wasn't going to win the Mr. Olympia title. He knew that, and it was very close with him and Phil every year. So he understood that, you know what, I'm going to walk away and see how the sport fares without me. Now, anybody who ever seen Kai compete on stage will tell you this. He's the most entertaining and the best performer on stage today, to this date. Nobody else is like Kai Green when he's on stage. But Kai Green's like, hey, I'll walk away. I'm healthy. He didn't walk away injured. He didn't walk nothing wrong. He walked away on his own recognizance. And that's how he can control his destiny and what he wants to do with the sport and what he wants to do with his life. And I have nothing but respect for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have to respect anybody who gets into the sport. I know, yeah, because not everybody understands what's involved in it. And then if you can be like some people could make a way, where you can connect, like, as a big show's coming up this weekend. It is the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic, and their weekend is going to start because it's going to start at the 27th. They're going to do the amateur shows, and I interviewed a couple of ladies who will be at that show. A couple is just working, the expos, because that's where you get to meet a lot of people. You get to, like a lot of competitors go there. Even though where I'm hearing that the Arnold's ratings have dropped a little bit, I don't know. It might be maybe just me feel like that they don't have as many of the real women's bodybuilding divisions, female bodybuilding divisions, like women's bodybuilding, physique, and figure, because it's not really enough representation, at that show compared to the Olympia. But it's still a big show. As they do a free live stream. You don't have to pay for it. You can watch it live. But I'm not going to watch it because, as you know, I'm not a fan of what he's done. But also, to commit yourself to something that is not the norm to what everybody sees in sports. It's not like, again, like football or basketball or baseball, where you play sports, you can make a living. Not everybody can get into the NFL or NBA. I mean, it's like maybe out of 1,000 people, you'd be maybe barely 50-40% of people get picked up, because it's just about your talent. How somebody said, like, you can have the talent, but if you're not assessed, that's a different thing. Talent can go away, but obsession is something that can stick with you because you're driven, you're focused. You really are committed to something. Like Michael was always the best. He had to practice every day. A lot of competitors who are like the top competitors weren't the best when they first started out, but then it took their time, they practiced, they trained, they really work on the things and made the improvements.
Mastering our craft.
hmm Yeah, it's like this. You have to learn the aspects of it and understand the factors into it. And then when it's time, you feel like, you know what, I did all I can do, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to go to something else. Then that's something else another thing you can master. Because like you say, you're working on trying to acting. That's a lot of work. Reading scripts, knowing lines, memorizing a lot of that stuff, and then going to rehearsals, and be careful when you say, "Well, don't call us, we'll call you." So sometimes it might be just saying we don't get. But when you do
That's true. That's
this,
true.
yeah. But when you do this, you have to say, I got the idea from a while back. There's a fighter named is Kat Zingano. She was supposed to try out for a movie, a Halle Berry movie about fighters, and she supposed to have fought in the UFC. She had another fight on a contract, but because she thought she was going to be a big movie star, then she tried to sue Halle Berry. But the thing is, you wouldn't guarantee that job. You weren't certain. If Hollywood has their things, they have their, if they find somebody they really see they have talent and they can push them to the next level, they will. But if you're not that person, here's the thing: is don't quit your day job. You know,
Well, it's like
focus.
funny because last week Tina was on the phone with Steven Spielberg, and he's like, "You're not suited to be behind the bar. There's bigger things in your future." And she goes, "Well, until those bigger things come, I'm suited right behind my bar."
Yeah, that thing is because you know what? A lot of
George got
people.
yo.
Go ahead.
Can I, this real quick. I saw. Did y'all see Captain America 4?
I heard his bomb. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet either.
Okay, let me
How
just.
do,
I
how do
just want
you
to say
like
something.
it?
This is where every female. This is where every female bodybuilder dropped the ball. There's this one character. It's a female character. She was supposed to be a secret agent for the president. She is about 4 foot nothing, and she was able to take down guys who are Keith size, George size, and my size, and it's not believable. That's what I say. If any female bodybuilder who auditioned for that Marvel movie, and it could be believable for a female bodybuilder. I could see Andrea Shaw taking out a bunch of guys, or Keith, your wife. But if
Yeah.
you watch that Captain America 4 movie, you see that little woman, you be like, this is not believable, man. That's what I say. A lot of this is will be great opportunity for female bodybuilders to get into those type of Marvel movies or DC movies. I'm not saying they didn't do it, but some of them they got to push hard because there's certain like she's 4 foot nothing, and I'm like, no, I can't believe that.
Well, here's part of
They
the
can't
problem.
do
I,
anything.
I remember when they did Generation Iron. If you guys haven't watched it, you should. I mean, you should watch it because Phil was actually on point because I think Dennis Wolf, who was big back then, was they had flew him out to L.A. and some of these guys just can't talk. They just some of these girls just can't talk. They just you put a camera in front of their face and they're like falling all over the words. So it's one of those things that I think that's part of these bodybuilder men and females problem is that they just don't know how to. They're not very well spoken, and they're just used to being like we always say on this podcast, locked in the gym, working out, and all these other things, instead of exploring other things that they can possibly do life after bodybuilding. And that's part of the problem.
They gotta have that attraction for for the producers, executive producers to like
Well,
take
and,
them
and and you have to
to.
understand the reason why, like a Robbie Downey Jr. and what's the guy from Captains of the Caribbean, and Spielberg, they
Johnny
like
Johnny
Depp.
Depp.
yeah, they like Tina because Tina doesn't know any of these guys for one. She does. She has to look them up because she doesn't watch movies and shit. But
She
she's not going.
doesn't.
No, and still Spielberg said this to her last week. Said, and I was listening to call. He goes, most women would jump at the opportunity that I'm offering them, and I can't really talk about that. But Tina's like, if my family can't come and this, I just can't do it. That's just how she is. That's how she's
Mhm.
built. And he's like, not everybody has those principles or morals. And so that intrigues some of these people more than some of these other people because she's, it's like, I think Robert Downey Jr. said to her, he goes, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't. And I'm like, bullshit. I said, because you're one of the best actors in the world, and you have all these movies and all this other stuff. But he says Hollywood changes you. I don't know if it would change Tina, but I know it changes a lot of people because she is just her moral compass. This is her moral compass at the end of the day. So that's why these guys like her for these particular roles they've been talking to her about, because she really doesn't give a shit one way or
But
another.
that
You can't be
role,
mad
that role,
because you don't know.
that role, sorry, that role, it was barely any lines. So any female athlete could have done it. The woman had like maybe 3 lines. That's it. Top.
Yeah.
If you watch the movie, trust me, George, KL, Keith, when you get the chance to watch that movie, Captain America 4, you want to be like, yo, Raheem was right. This woman is tiny. How can she take out dudes that's 6 foot, 300 pounds full of muscles? Bro, that's what I say. Tina could have done this, Keith. Because I could believe Tina taking her out. Because like I said, the role, it wasn't a lot of lines. It really wasn't. The woman had like maybe 3 lines. That's it, tops. That's it.
Well, like with Court Evenson when it was in Double Impact. She didn't have that many lines, and she was
Yeah,
fighting
she
Van
stood out.
Damme, and yeah, she stood
That's
out. She
one
kicked the
thing
guy's
about yeah.
butt. And the thing is that Hollywood, it's kind of changed. But the thing is, they have to feel like it's somebody that can really sell the character. Even if it's a minor character, you have to be able
Yeah.
to sell it to
Just the
them.
first
You
one
have to,
couldn't even act. They said when they met her, when they were talking to us, like she didn't even know how to act. They just, they guided her along, and did very well. 84 sucked, but the first one was good. So
yeah. No one's Linda Carter. No one's Linda Carter.
yeah,
And to go back to that, the fact is everybody needs to understand when you get into the sport, get what you want out of it the most.
yes,
If you want to feel like you can make a life and career out of it, great. If you just like to compete, like you just love to be on the stage. You love competing. We just talked with a lady who just decided she took a step back, and now she's returning to compete. And that was a lady that Kale mentioned that did the pose. That's Amanda Avalotis. She's making a return after she hadn't competed since 2017. That's at least about 7 years since the last time she's on stage, and she's returning because she loves the bodybuilding. We had a great conversation. Met a young lady who also she been competing for a good bit, and what she went through, and how she came up. She loves the sport. She understands what she's getting out of it because she has success of her own. Her and her husband own a gym, and you gotta find what you want out of sport for yourself. And if you
yeah.
can't find it anymore, then you go ahead and move on to something else. And to mention Robert Downey Jr., RDJ, great actor. I remember he was that movie. It was black and white. We told Mike Tyson he had a dream about him. I mean, that's you took a hit from Mike Tyson. I gotta give respect for that. Now he's playing Doctor Doom. Folks, we'll be out here too much longer, and this is a great conversation, and we appreciate that. But if any of y'all who've been following my channel, usually we have my man, our man Merlin, Jeremy. He's not here. He's the one who got me hooked up on this. And I saw this, and I shared it with Keith, and I shared it with other people, that as you know, Texas Pro is not going to have women's bodybuilding. But the the Titan Grand Prix is returning. And I made this little thing. I posted it on my social media. I even sent it to Hunter Henson. She didn't like it too much because I didn't credit the picture from it because I edited it, but whatever, whatever. Hey, you should appreciate it. I mean, she did post it. We posted on her stories. So, but you did like it enough. But it's the Titan Grand Prix is coming back for 2025, and it's going to be in Anaheim, California, on the 20th. And this year, it's going to be from what me and Jerry found out. It's going to be women's bodybuilding and women's physique. But the thing is, it's qualification for 2026 Olympia.
The numbers are low this year. That's why they added this last year because the numbers are low and they're trying to for competitors. So, they understand that now this show, hopefully, like this last year, it was a great show. I think what was Tina's third or fourth there. It was a great show. Yes, fourth. And so, it was a great show. She won't do it this year. She'll, I think they have other plans, but I mean, it's a great show. So, I mean, if you're a women competitor wanting a great venue, a great show, it's a very good show, and it's in California, right across the street from Disneyland. Woohoo!
Kind of like when they had the Olympia in Orlando, and a
Yeah,
lot of competitors,
Disney
it
World right
was a
down the
great place.
street.
South Sea, goes the place to go. Vegas, you can't do much. It's especially if you have kids. You can't do much. It's not unless you like to gamble and drink and party at some of these places there. But generally, if you're just somebody just, it's not much to do. I posted, and some ladies are very excited. Some ladies I interviewed a while back said she's in California, and she's excited the fact they're gonna have women's physique, especially in California, where she don't have to go like as I said earlier, the Legion show that's in Arizona. I mean, in Nevada and Reno. They dropped women's physique and women's and figure. And then it's just the Arizona Pro. And you have the Triple O Dynasty at women's bodybuilding and figure, but no women's physique this year. And, shout out to Tamer, who runs that show. I mean, appreciate what you're doing, brother. I know he got a whisper from my man. I got to say it. Yo, Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. I can't help it. If I ever get to meet it, I'm going to say it to his face. I'm gonna say, "Excuse me, Mr. Wood. I gotta say this. If I don't say it, it's gonna eat up me for the rest of my life. I got to say it. Just be patient with me." Yo, Jake, I want that money. I want that gun.
Hey, you gotta have the video of that shit when you do.
Ask somebody, man, hold the camera for me. Just over there. I mean, maybe it's about to be Alina. So I have Alina, or maybe, this past weekend. Yeah, last weekend was her birthday. 63 years old.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
She's beautiful. I mean,
Alina Popa?
No, Linda Murray.
Linda Murray. Yeah. I seen the video you made about her. Yeah, it's cool.
Absolutely
yeah. She is 63.
Yeah,
she was on a live doing she was like running. She was out walking in that morning, and I came in the live to say happy birthday. Said, "Oh, that's all the way George Page," and I just like, the eight-time Miss Olympia said she appreciated me. It just between this and that and this, I just don't be a hater. I can feel the hate in your tail. I can smell it.
I'm not hating. I'm not hating. You was pretty hating yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. I know.
You was pretty hating yesterday.
Hey, KL, no brother, we live there, huh?
I'm pissed. I can be sometimes I could be a nice guy or I could be a complete villain.
God help us all, man. God help us all.
If you believe that. Yeah. So, but I would say shout out to any competitors interested in doing this show. This is a great opportunity, especially for competitors like, Lori, she lives in California. She did a show last year. A couple of ladies I know that lives in the West Coast or closer to California. That'd be a great show for them to get the qualification. One lady I interviewed, I sent it to her. She said, well, if she gets a Olympic qualification for this year, she said, you know what? I might as well just come over, do that show, and then I can give you my qualification for next year. So she could just come here, do the show, then do the Olympia next year to go back because she lives overseas in Europe, so she wouldn't have to go travel back and forth. Just come here, do Olympia, go back home. She said she might plan just to do that show, stay if she can, a few weeks because the Olympia is the October, around about the first week of October. So that be easy for her. I feel like maybe 2 or 3 weeks with Olympia, where your time, maybe settle and do some stuff and maybe get some connections there. But yeah, I mean, shout out to them, and I hope this is a great show. I hope they do a better job than last time when they tried to do that. I remember when Tina sent me that link, and then it was, it was some shit. I don't know what it was. I mean, you can like Jeremy said, like how you can hire, kids from a college or high school AV class who can set everything up. Kids know this shit now. They're on the game on this stuff. You can hire them. You won't have to pay them as much compared to you just have the equipment, they fix it, set it up, boom. That would have been a great show to see live. I wanted to see it live, but But anyway, my man Keith just bowed out. So, Kale, we got here. So, you have anything you want to say?
No, I had a good time yesterday. It was cool. It was a cool day yesterday. I went to the OCB show and I filmed it on live. It's on a live stream. Excuse me. Yeah, and there was people that supported. Yeah, there were like people that I interviewed, and they was there, but I didn't realize it till they messaged me that they was there. So one of them was a judge, and one of them was supporting her friend and stuff. Yeah, it was cool. It was even cool to see the guys like compete. Like it was like a clique of people that was like next to me, and they was cheering for one guy. They was going crazy. Everybody like near me was like looking at them and stuff, but they supported him and stuff. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it wasn't a bad show. It really wasn't. It was. I would say it was a little bit better than the last OCB show I was at, because I think in terms of where they held it at, like it was in a hotel. This recent one that I went to in the OCB in Brooklyn, it was like in a college auditorium, and it was small, like to a point where people had to get up. You got to move and all that stuff. Where this one, it was more spacious, and yeah. So.
Brother, I know you enjoyed yourself, and and you had to rub up on my girl. I know.
I didn't touch her.
It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter.
If I'd have touched it, you would have known.
Oh yeah, my friend, I would know. I mean, yeah, I know.
You would know. You would know.
I know, but I'm just like I said, I'm just busting your balls. I'm just busting your balls.
Okay.
It's good, folks. Like I said, folks, all you gotta do is go to KL the Wanderer. He posted some video on for the OCB. You want to check it out? I know I came on his live for a bit and I was watching it. There's that one dude, he was an somebody's old uncle up there. I mean,
I see that. I appreciate. Yeah. I mean, there was this woman that she was stiff, like I filmed her. She was stiff, and I think probably she was nervous or something, and people had to cheer, encourage her, cheer for her, because the announcer, he was saying that she lost like a lot of pounds and stuff. So, but yeah,
well, you find something about her, maybe you can get on and do an interview with her, because that was her maybe her first show, maybe get her thoughts and opinion,
most definitely.
Yeah, reach out to that one lady who you interviewed. That's one of the judges. See if you can get some information for me.
I interviewed her before. That's the funny part. She was the lady that remember you was messaging me the sound. The sound was echoing and stuff. Yeah, that was her.
All right. Yeah.
But I could talk to her.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Like I said, do what you do. So just saw you did an interview this afternoon before he came on here with a guy. What was I might watch.
He was an artist. He's not a bodybuilder. He likes to draw female bodybuilders and male bodybuilders in general. He's been doing it for a while. He gets paid to do it. That's his not almost, but that's his livelihood. He lives in Morocco. Yeah.
That's like he wants to. Where's Morocco at? Is that not too close to the Middle East? I think it's like.
Yeah.
It's trying to.
Well, it's in the Middle East. It's the land of Middle East.
Yeah. So because I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a while. Yeah. He's telling me his story. Like he likes the male body. I think he told me that he has a brother that competed in an amateur show. Yeah, and then he was also sharing that it's not that many. There's one bodybuilder that he's a professional bodybuilder, but he don't want to be in social media. And I was saying to him like that's like how is he going to have somebody to sponsor him? What if he wanted somebody to sponsor him or go like overseas to a show or anything like that? What he would do? But he told me that the guy has a small business something like that. Yeah, so but it was
Mm-hmm.
cool talking with him. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw you got another interview coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow. Oh, this I think. Well, actually, I got one tonight, but I'm not gonna put it live. I'm gonna just kind of record it. It's a comic book artist and stuff. You know, it don't make no sense
Well,
putting. No, I was just saying it don't make no sense to me putting live and hardly nobody, with the exception of you, be there and stuff. So I was like, let me just record it, man. Because
okay.
yeah, the majority of the times it's like female bodybuilder fans. That's it. And then I'll have like a bikini competitor, and if you're not there, I'm not. Nobody else ain't gonna be there. So maybe balls deep, saying the same thing, but that's it.
Yeah, he's ball deep. He's corny, but yeah, well, check out I got one coming up Wednesday. With lady, she's a bikini competitor. She's IFB pro.
Yeah,
Also, I'm
yeah.
interviewing Melody Jackson, who we interviewed a while back. We've been talking, been following for a cool while. So
Melody Jackson, I did.
yeah, she's the Geisha Fitness.
Keisha. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. My bad.
Yeah,
You know how my
yeah,
brain is.
yeah.
Almost forgot. I'm like, who
You
Melody Jackson?
you must
I
learn.
knew,
It's
I
like
knew, I knew. I knew. I mean, sometimes like I don't know. It's other things there, and then I'm be looking at other people's Instagram page, and then it's like you forget sometimes. So, but yeah,
wait,
she was cool. Yeah, I mean, you and her will have a good talk. With
yeah.
bodybuilding and comic books and all that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah. As I often tell you, young Master Wayne, be aware of surroundings at all time. Never give a sure footing for a killing blow. And as for me, Ra's al Ghul, the demons have. So, but yeah, folks, I respect any competitors who does sport of bodybuilding because, like I said, I know KL said he couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. My man Big Keith, he's still doing it, and and it's a lot of sacrifice, work, and time you put into this. And if you're willing to take that time, that sacrifice, and do it, that's you. Like some others who stepped away because of their personal reasons or whatever, feel like they want to go another path, that's also good for you. But anything, like I said, is anything worth having, you have to put the time and work into it. Be it like with me doing this podcast and live streams, it's something I like doing. Keeps me busy also, but also I get education when I reach out and do these interviews, and and also I want people to be informed about this sport, to learn, to know what the facts into, what's about, to understand it, and I know everybody has their idea of what it is. It's about bodybuilders and steroids and like that, but steroids is always in any other sport, but it's so easy to become bodybuilding. But some ladies who saw this, one thing I keep saying, hey ladies, if you feel like you want to talk about this, and come on, you are open, you are welcome guests. But here's the thing: is don't be a backseat quarterback making comments if you're not going to be able to be willing to put stuff out there. I understand you be concerned because you don't want to, but like he said by that one guy, he said he know he ain't going to be Olympia champion level like that. He does it because he wants to do it, and that's why I do this because I want y'all to share your stories to let people know, to have people understand what it is to be a bodybuilder. And we'll keep talking about this as long as you want me to talk about it, or just for the hell of it. When people like, I go back again. When someone like Linda Murray, mentions me on a live and just say, hey, she appreciates me, or when Andrea, who don't you never met, I might send a thing say, hey, I would love to interview with you if you want to. I've even sent one to Linda before, and I know she's a busy lady, but I hope she does make the time if she ever gets such opportunity to. And any competitor who is passionate about themselves, about the sport, and about their own future and also endeavors, just be willing to share it. Educated people who are maybe who don't know or just completely ignorant. And my man here, he's still learning. He's growing the process. He found his own footing in the sport as a content maker. He does stuff that's maybe not the same as that I do, but we do share passion for the sport. We love the ladies mostly, but we do get to learn something every time we do an interview and we reach out to them and they share their stories. And I do appreciate the connection we have made over time since doing this. So, folks, I appreciate y'all for coming through. Shout out to my man Rocky Hamilton, Balls Deep came through. My man KL the Wanderer right here. Also my brother Big Keith Williams. Shout out to Lisa Sege. Good luck in your future, whatever you're doing. I will send this because right now I know it's about skin 30 right now, but I know right now in Australia it's already about the morning time, so she's up. So I'll send it to her and hope she, I'll say, hey, we talked about you during my podcast, so hope you like it. I was already planning to do this already, but when I saw her video, that really inspired me more to do this because really, someone like her, she's a beautiful lady, she's a loving mother, a good friend. She runs her own podcast, the Go Figure podcast. Go search for Go Figure podcast. She just did a couple of interviews, Shanique Grant, and also with Missy Trescott. Check that out. Let that channel grow. And there's other ladies out there who do it also podcasts. Saw that Nicole Zenobia is doing a podcast. She's coming back. Her and she got a couple of just put up. Also, Sheena Olick, who I been on my channel as an interview, and I got to meet in person.
Yeah, I think I've seen her podcast. Right, she has a podcast. Yeah, seen some of it.
WB Forever. She's just for real. I think she just posted some stuff, and and you see Sheena up close and personal. She's a beautiful woman. I'm not gonna lie, she's a beautiful woman. But folks, February's about over. We just got, I think, 4 more days, and then it's gonna be March.
Yeah, that's how the cookies crumble. But I gotta go, man. Really appreciate you having me, and do it again next week.
All right, okay. As long as you know word of my girls, I'm cool.
All right.
He's my brother. I love him. I just busting his balls. But I appreciate anybody who's here, who commented, who support my content, who support all of us on the sport. Support these men and women in bodybuilding. And I hope you enjoy the rest of this month. And this is Black History Month. Black History shouldn't just celebrate just 1 month out of the year. It should be celebrated every year because the contributions my people has made to this country. Stuff. If it wasn't for us, there wouldn't be America. Oh yeah, you can say the people came from Plymouth Rock, but it wasn't for them coming getting us from our homelands, my ancestors' homelands, and building this country and doing the stuff they did to us, holding us back. We should be up in footing with white people. Maybe we should be like second. Look at the Native Americans. They're like next to the bottom. It should be, but ending that. Shout out to all the lovely ladies that support bodybuilding, who are women of melanin. People like I said, Linda Murray and Andrea and Shanique Grant, and also Sheena Olick, and and all those who represent themselves in the sport. I love you, ladies. As a black man, I always love my sisters. I like other women too, but I always have love for my sisters. Growing up with a mother and my 3 older sisters, they were the women that really molded me who I am. I had to learn to be a man, but from them I learned to be an adult. So, folks, we appreciate it. MuscleTalk episode 227. Remember your TV show 227 is in the wraps. I'd like to thank my brothers coming through, and thank y'all for coming through and supporting me and my content. Use my Rachel page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, don't subscribe. I'm out. Good afternoon, good night, and enjoy the rest of your night. Bye.